right, first fight of the night takes place in the welterweight division where we got Adam Fugitt coming in at plus 355 going up against Ty Miller, who comes in at minus 425. Now, starting off on the Fugitt side of things, he's looking to bounce back after that nasty knockout loss that he suffered at the hands of Islam Dulatov, a fight where he found himself as a pretty big underdog. So we kind of expected that result when it did take place. Fugitt is normally a guy that likes to push a solid pace, good grappling, decent striking. His durability has kind of bit him in the ass in the past, but most of those knockouts and those finishes have come by renowned finishers like Michael Morales, who's a fight or two away from a welterweight title shot, Mike Malott, who's obviously been a perennial finisher throughout his career, and then the aforementioned Islam Dulatov, who I expect to have a pretty good UFC career once he steps into the cage a few more times. Fugitt was a guy from the Oregon area, I believe, but had set up shop at Fight Ready down in Arizona for his last two training camps. But it looks like he spread his wings a little bit more in the last couple of months, training at different gyms in the Arizona area, trying to really hold on to that UFC roster spot, especially with him being at 37 years old. It's not a bad idea to try to get as many looks as possible. At his best, he is a guy that loves to move forward, utilizes pressure, grappling as well as something that he likes to really lean on. If his durability holds up, he's often a guy that can go out there and put on a better performance than most people are come to know from him, especially in his last few losses that he's had. His durability normally holds up, as we saw when he took on Josh Quinlan and was able to get the decision win even after eating some big shots from him. But he's going to be facing a very technical striker here in Ty Miller, who's coming into his UFC debut after a very successful Contender Series run that he had, where he got that nasty finish. Well, actually, should have been a finish over Jimmy Drago. He threw everything and the kitchen sink at him, but Drago was game as ever and stuck in there the full 15 minutes, but Ty Miller clearly won that fight once the fight ended up hitting the scorecards. Now, this fit NHB product trained alongside Tim Means, who we obviously know is a nasty striker in his own right, and that's where he's done a lot of his work. He has a lot of boxing bouts, a lot of striking battles. Even though his record shows 6-0 as a pro, he's a very skilled striker, and we obviously saw that on display when he took on Jimmy Drago. He's obviously still working on his defensive grappling game. That's where most opponents try to take advantage of him. And he's long and lanky as well with the 6'2" frame, 77-inch reach. He loves to stick his opponents from distance and try to stick and move as best as he can. He's still growing into his body. He's only 25 years old, so he still has a few years before he truly grows into that 6'2" frame. And I think he's going to struggle against guys that will put that pace and try to really bully him inside the clinch and try to get those takedowns. Now, in this matchup against Adam Fugitt, it's a fun one, but one that we've come to realize that a lot of these guys that come over from the Contender Series, especially if they're undefeated and especially if they come off a very good performance, they get overvalued at the sports books, and that's obviously what we're seeing here with Miller coming in at minus 425. I know it's not a good look with Fugitt coming off that nasty knockout loss against Islam Dulatov, but I don't think Miller has that raw knockout power the way that Dulatov and Morales do. So I think Miller will have to try to beat Fugitt with a death by 1,000 cuts type of approach, but I think if Fugitt can kind of push through that, he might be able to rough up Miller in the clinch and have some success there. I will say right off the bat here, the odds are just way too wide, in my opinion, right? There's always that hype with these Contender Series guys, and you have to take that into consideration when you're betting these fights or even looking to parlay some of these chalky spots. I don't think Miller is worth that chalky price tag here. He's still young. 6 MMA fights. Fugitt is a lot more experienced, has a much bigger strength of schedule. He's faced heavy hitters in the past and seen the scorecards. So if Miller can't get him out of there, he might be able to outpoint him, but Fugitt might be able to have some success by pushing at Miller against the cage, making this a rough, dirty matchup, trying to get some takedowns as well and some top pressure. And he has that old man strength in a sense, right? He's 37. I don't want to call him old per se, but definitely older than Ty Miller, who's 25 years old. So the prediction is going to be Miller. I think his technical striking will get him ahead here. I think he picks apart Fugitt and probably wins this on the scorecards, but you cannot overlook Fugitt's chances at plus 355, considering his strength of schedule and considering how he normally puts a pace and pressure on his opponents. So again, official prediction will be Ty Miller by decision, but you have to take a long, hard look at Adam Fugitt at this big underdog price tag.